Welcome back, Weekend Warriors. The return of the Weekendology Podcast is back again with a brand new episode. We're the only podcast with the hottest takes, the best talking points, and the stories to fuel your weekend conversations. Will Deichley back alongside my co-host,
Aaron Berg.
Aaron Berg is back in the house. Thanks for joining us again, guys. Well, we're officially back in with our, this is our fifth episode, right, Aaron?
Yeah, we're on number 5.
Number 5, and we're kind of approaching that area where every podcast gets to about 7 episodes.
The 7-year itch.
Yeah, the 7-episode stretch, and then they kind of peter off. So we're building momentum. We're not going to peter off like everybody else. We're not just like any other podcast. And this is going to be a fun episode, Aaron. I think we're going to be talking about some cool stuff, and it's Hollywood is here. Hollywood has joined the Weekendology Podcast.
They call me Hollywood Berg, so I'm ready for this one.
Is that what they call you now, then?
That's what they call me.
Well, we were talking about kind of what Hollywood has been doing, and really focusing on, like, I was watching a couple movies recently, and you know me, I love going to the theater. I love kind of doing the whole movie experience. You know, there's something to be said about going to the theater with like your popcorn, and you go with some snacks, your friends, and you go see your favorite movie on screen. And one of the trends I've been noticing is that a lot of the times, a lot of these movies are sequels or franchises or remakes or pretty much anything that is unoriginal. And I was kind of wondering myself, has Hollywood become unoriginal?
Is unoriginal a word?
Yes, it is now.
Is it a real word?
It's a real word.
I was gonna say, things are becoming unoriginal, and I thought, I can't say that. That's not a real word.
Things are unoriginal.
That's
Hollywood
original
is
to say unoriginal.
Exactly. So there, you can trademark that one. But no, it's one of the things that I've noticed actually over just 27 years of life and watching thousands upon thousands of movies, is that we're in this kind of trend of remakes and sequels, and just everything is kind of not original.
Wow.
Maybe not a
How
great word
original
to describe.
for you to describe
exactly. I've fallen into kind of the trend here.
No, it's just become boring, and I mean, I think everyone has noticed this, at least in the past 15 years, maybe. There's always been remakes. There's always been, a reboot or a sequel, that type of thing. But it's gotten bad. I've said this before to Will the other day. There was a tweet I saw, and the guy took a picture of the movie screen, and movies were coming out, and he was like, "Is this the '90s?" Because it was like Toy Story and just all the movies we grew up with as kids, and it was just number 2, number 3, number 4, just continuations, or it was remakes. Right. And it's like, who cares? I mean, it gets to the point where, I'll be honest, I don't go to the theater much anymore, because if I'm going to spend $20, because you got to get popcorn when you go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I get it. It's an experience, but it's you're going, and it's not going to be as good as the original. But even if you go, we're to the point now, this has been done so many times, where movies, it's like they didn't even think. They're just like, well, let's put it out there and put it on screen because people see the title and they just want to go see it. And I went and saw Toy Story 4.
I can't believe they made 4 of those. Like, I was kind of done after like the first 2 or 3. And don't get me wrong, I love a good movie, and like I said, the experience is awesome. But when it comes to kind of the unoriginality,
well, and to the point too where, like I said, seeing Toy Story 4, to the point where it was so unoriginal that it didn't fit the storyline. I mean, it was a complete... just a movie, it wasn't bad. It was okay. But you can tell it was like, hey, let's throw Key and Peele in there because they're really popular. And, so they got, like, newer voice actors. And they got some, like, up-and-coming voice actors that people recognize. So they did that. But the storyline itself was so lackluster. And it was totally just, hey, this is branded Toy Story, and this will bring in all the merchandise and all the stuff outside of it, so we'll make a bunch of money. It was totally a money grab, and I get it.
Every franchise sequel movie is like that.
But then why? I get to the point where I'm just like, I don't even want to support this because they just are trying to get my money, and they don't even care. I know they're in it to make money, but they don't even care what the audience thinks. They can make a terrible movie, and it's just like, oh, whatever, you're going to show up anyway. And we do because we're dumb, and we're like, oh, well, maybe after the 50th time that we have gone around the song and dance, we're like, well, maybe it might be good. And then we walk out and we say the same exact thing. We're like, well, that wasn't as good as the original.
Maybe the seventh Transformers movie will have something different, but
I mean, it's got Marky Mark.
That's the only reason everybody comes and sees the movies is because it's got Marky Mark and it's got explosions. And
why don't they? Since they're doing so many remakes with those, why don't they just throw Megan Fox back in there? Like
they should.
Wouldn't that make people happy? The movie, they know the movie.
Well, they replaced her with Rosie Huntington Whiteley in the third one.
I don't know who that is.
She was like some Sports Illustrated or Victoria's Secret swimsuit
So she's
model.
on par.
So she's obviously
she
fits in the line of what Michael Bay wants to do.
And then is Marky Mark Shia LaBeouf? Is he taking over
then he takes the place of that. And then there's a gratuitous scene of like in the fourth one where of like his daughter. It's just very weird and like it's just.
But see what I mean? Like
it's sexually just promiscuous or whatever. We're allowed to say that, right?
For a podcast, you can say whatever you want.
But I think that's what we want to talk about is like why is Hollywood creating so many of these types of remakes and sequels and in the past 15 years or so I think there's been just so many and you can't go to the preview or the movies and see a preview that's not either one in the superhero movie genre or it's not a sequel or a remake of a movie that was released back in the 70s, 80s or 90s.
Even Spider-Man 2002. Yeah. And then they redid it, and then they redid it. And
they're going to keep doing it.
With the other remake, didn't they make 3 with Tom Holland?
Yeah. Well, so
come on.
I think the Marvel universe or like any of the superhero genre is kind of set in itself because, one, I'm a huge comic book fan, so I don't mind that kind of stuff. I'm going to ignore that. But it is impressive what Disney and Marvel have been able to do to kind of interweave 23 films over 10, 11, 12 years. And I think that's great. I'm referring to more of the ridiculous amounts of franchises and reboots and kind of more movies that they make that you don't need. I mean, 9 out of the 10 top grossing movies of 2019 came from pre-existing properties.
Wow.
And the only movie that was original was Captain Marvel. And that was already part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
So that was already in the superhero area.
And that was a comic book. Like, it wasn't even... I mean, seriously, there's nothing that I can think of that is a true, hey, we wrote this movie script. It's not based off anything. We just created it. And 100% original. I feel like that can't even happen anymore. It's either based on a book at least or a screenplay of some kind or most of the time just another movie or a remake. Or
a lot of the times you'll see like a lot of these movies take bits and pieces, and I get it, best practices,
That's fine,
but you got to have some sort of an original idea. But a lot of the directors or screenplay writers will just take, this idea looks great from this movie. This idea looks great from that one. Let's just shape it, change a couple things here and there, and then poop out a movie at the end of it. Like,
well, don't you think what they're doing is it's not even, this looks good. It's, this will make money. This will bring people in.
100%,
and
yes.
This brought people in. So that's my point. I get, obviously Hollywood's trying to make money, but from an entertainment standpoint, it's so bad, and there's so many choices now.
So many bad choices of bad movies.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, well, yeah, man. I don't even like when I see a Netflix movie come out. Like, they're trying to do their own stuff because they're trying to compete with Disney coming out with their streaming service. Like, their stuff's not even original, and it's Netflix original.
Yeah.
And besides, I love Stranger Things, so like I think that's, even though that's like Super 8 though. You ever watched the movie Super 8?
Yeah, I've seen that movie. It's a good movie, by the way. J.J. Abrams directed that, but
so like even that, like Stranger Things is like kind of original, and it's a great show. I love it, but like it's kind of like it's playing off these other ideas and that was only like 10 years ago that came out, or 12 years ago.
But you got to go with what's popular and trendy at the time. And I think there's a big trend of kind of that 80s noir and kind of nostalgia that comes along with it. I mean, Super 8 was very much kind of that, 70s, 80s type of flair.
Yeah.
Obviously, Stranger Things is, very much in the 80s, and the music and the dress and the colors and everything that goes along with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a trend kind of in Hollywood, is to go back to kind of that, good times of the 80s or the 90s or whatever it is, back to when you were kids, and kind of relive that through some of these more shows or TVs.
Well, and I think that's the thing. I think that's a huge reason why that's happening is it's so safe. It's so familiar, and people love familiar. They like, okay, I know I'm going to go to the movie and not hate this because, well, I like the first one, and I know the characters, I know the storyline. It's kind of like listening to music. When you listen to music, you listen to the same, generally, you listen to the same artists, or you stick with a genre, or, it's safe. You know what to expect. You know it'll be easy to sing along later. So movies, it'll be easy to quote. It'll be easy to follow along. You don't have to think too hard. And I think people, that's why they keep showing up too, is just that reason. And I'm guilty of it too, man. I mean, I'll go to, if it's a series I really like of a movie, I mean, I'll show up. Even if I know, hey, Anchorman 2, perfect example.
God.
I knew that would suck, dude.
Yeah,
I knew that was just going to be trash. Bad. But I was like, you know what? I got to see every Will Ferrell because Will Ferrell's hilarious. Ferrell. Yeah, he's the man. And I love Will Ferrell. He's great.
Yeah.
He's stupid, but he's great. But I knew, I'm like, well, I know what to expect, and I just gotta see how they did this, and it was awful, just a train wreck, and it was 2.5 hours long.
Oh God!
But I mean, I've showed up, and so I don't blame people for doing it, and I get why Hollywood's doing it, but. Come on, I mean, this is going to hit a breaking point at some point.
No, I agree with you, and I think Hollywood's become kind of very stuck in their own ways, but I mean, think about it from their point of view. If something's popular, something's going to make them money, then why stop it? But I think it kind of inhibits these creative directors and screenplay writers and actors to kind of flex their muscles.
People that are so talented.
Yeah, I mean, and they're not really given too much of a chance because they want to go with Scream 17 or Transformers 12 or Terminator 11 because, the reckoning of Arnold Schwarzenegger and his loss of body fat.
Rambo.
They're making another one of those too. Rambo Last Blood or something. But
because you don't know what he does when he's 70.
Yeah, he's just going to kill people and mow down a bunch of people.
What if he doesn't? What if he dies? What if he's so old?
It could be.
And it's finally hey, we got to end this. We got to kill him off. And
it's like Logan, the X-Men movie. That was actually a pretty good movie, but that was the definitive end to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character.
So they killed him off?
Spoiler alert, they killed him off.
It's been 4 years.
Okay, so if you haven't seen it by now, then
I haven't. You ruined it.
Yeah, I can't help you there. But I think there's a cycle of kind of how these Hollywood movies go, and I was this always happens. So summer comes around, you've got your Hollywood blockbusters, superhero genres, your big, popcorn type of movies where, it's from March to August, so to speak. And, that's when you build up your $1 billion budgets. I mean, Avengers made $3 billion this past summer because
it's crazy.
That's just how Marvel works, and people love it.
With Avengers, do you think, because they're on are they done with Avengers movies? Did they announce that?
No. So the Marvel universe will continue on for probably ever.
But are they going to make another Avengers movie?
Yeah, they'll make one eventually, just probably not in the immediate future.
Wouldn't it make sense that that's going to gross higher? Because if everyone saw this one and everyone loved Endgame, why wouldn't the next one do even better? I mean,
the precedent gets set even further and further and further. So the Avengers made $3.7 billion or $3.5 billion.
But here's the thing: if that doesn't, think about this. That was so great. I don't know. It was good, but people loved it and kept seeing it, kept talking about it, and whatever. If they not even bomb it, if they just do an okay job, that could crush the franchise. It could be done.
Yeah.
They could just say screw it, we're done. The bar is set so high, and this is where I think is a real problem if they keep making these sequels or trilogies or whatever. It's gonna get to a point where Lord of the Rings, I love it. I'm glad they made 3, glad they followed the books. But then they made The Hobbit, and that wasn't very good.
They divided that 112-page book up into 3 movies.
Stupid. And the worst book too. Yeah. You can say nerd to me now.
No, that's fine.
Since I'm talking about Lord of the Rings.
I like The Hobbit as a book, but
it killed the franchise. It killed the whole franchise, and so I think that's the thing they got to be wary about. Is great. You're making just billions and billions and billions of dollars off these decent movies or sometimes bad movies because you're continuing this familiar trend that people like and whatever. But you're gonna get to a point where people are like, oh, that was really bad. and then they're just gonna give up and they might not go see it. And I think what his movie is dumb as Anchorman. I think that happened. I think that you think Anchorman, and people always they'll talk about Anchorman or they'll quote it, but then they'll bring up like the Anchorman 2 sucked. You know, that'll always have that.
Oh yeah,
that
it was
tie-in,
terrible.
so it ruins the brand of the movie.
I agree, and
So they gotta be careful
with that kind of cycle. Going back to it, there's always those blockbusters, but you're never gonna see a Marvel movie or a reboot or a franchise movie win an Oscar like La La Land or Manchester by the Sea or I don't know, Moonlight or anything that comes out from like January or Christmas time to February. And so there's such a stark contrast
Black
between
Panther won an Oscar.
But that was
Starting the trend.
No, that's true. There's a first time for everything. But
I just had to
I put a list together of kind of the most unnecessary franchises, remakes, and sequels, and everything is going to
this is great.
interweave, so to speak. But here's my list, Aaron. The unnecessary franchises. Terminator.
Okay,
They've made 6 Terminator movies.
All right, yeah.
They should have just the first one was good. The second one was great.
I love the second one. So that's
the
thing,
third,
like,
fourth, fifth, however many they were garbage.
The
they
thing
were so bad.
they screwed up on there, because I like the one. Was it? I think it was Christian Bale. Was he in the new ones?
Yeah, he was in like the fourth one or something.
I liked that one. I thought that one was good.
Yeah,
but
when he's not yelling at people behind the scenes or cursing, the PA out or something.
That's true. I like that.
No, I agree with you.
But the thing that they screwed up on, they made a good one. Terminator 1 is good. It's super 80s, but it's great. And then the second one is awesome.
Second one was one of the rare instances where the sequel was better.
But then they waited to 2003 to make, was it Judgment Day? Was that the third one? Yeah. I didn't even see it because so many people have told me it's so bad. I'm just like, okay, fine, I won't watch it.
Well, so the movies,
why are they waiting that long to make a third? Like, that one could have been a reboot. Think about that, because the second one I think was 91, 92. Yeah. And you could have just said okay, we're just going to redo this now. Why are you waiting that long to make a third one? At that point, people forgot about it. They don't care about it anymore.
But then it sparked a new trilogy, and then they made the third one, which was
so clunky because they made a third one and it sucked.
Because it was bad.
And then they were they waited 10 more years, or maybe I don't know. I don't have the dates for
it was 8
years or whatever. And then they're like, oh, let's reboot it again with Christian Bale and new characters. It's so clunky. It doesn't fit. The years of when they came back don't fit.
No, that was an unnecessary one. One else on the hound that's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine was Fast and Furious.
That's not a necessary movie.
That's
stupid.
It's an unnecessary movie, franchise, remake. It's everything. But when it stopped becoming more about cars in about the 4th or the 5th movie when
they just started naming it Fast and Furious the same time.
It was when The Rock came in and he was like, this movie isn't about cars anymore. It's about me doing superhuman feats, lifting up buildings and cars, and Vin Diesel and him fighting or something. And then it was all
fighting both on
action.
set and offset.
Exactly.
I love that.
The Alien movies, they've made most sequels, and now they're doing prequels.
And then Alien vs Predator.
Oh God, that is
one of
the worst movies. So they had Alien vs Predator, and then they had Alien vs Predator: The Requiem. They made a sequel.
They remade
the
remake.
They made a sequel off of that
sequel. Yeah.
Terrible movie. That was so bad. I have never seen anything it's like one of those movies where you're like, okay, I'll check it out.
But see, you're still hours,
2 hours of my life I'll never get back. Star Trek movies I had to put it in there because that franchise will probably never die.
Are you a Trekkie?
I'm not a huge. I like Star Wars more than I like Star Trek.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
but Star Wars is
I know nothing about
its
Star Trek.
own culprit of just let it go, man.
Let's get to Star Wars. I want to talk about
Star
Wars.
All right, let's talk about Star Wars, Aaron. Tell us how you really feel.
All right. So I used to be, when I was in kindergarten, I'd come home from school with my buddy. We'd collect all the Star Wars guys. I'm serious, man. I had every character of Star Wars, the background characters. I had those guys. And everyone, every type of Luke Skywalker from every scene.
Nerd.
It was, yeah. Hey, you missed your chance on the Lord of the Rings. So
oh, that's all right.
But yeah, I had that. We were 5, 6. We'd watch. I mean, over and over and over again. And we had like the director's cut where like George Lucas was doing the interviews.
Wow, so
we'd
you
still
guys
watch
were
that.
really into
Dude,
it.
We were into it, man.
Wow,
diehards, and man, and then I was still fairly little. I just turned 28, so I wasn't too old when.
Old now.
I know, man. I'm ancient. Washed, but when the Anakin Skywalker stupid crap, Jar Jar Binks, when that stuff came, it was like 99 when that came out. So I was like 8, on that. So I still was like going to see it and enjoyed it. And I'm sure my parents were like, "This is stupid, man. Like what this is dumb. Like we spend money on this crap." Like, but I thought they were good. I thought the 3 were good. And then I watched them again, kind of recently, and I'm like, this is so bad.
Well, they never held up to the original trilogy, obviously. And look,
Right.
we weren't alive when the original trilogy was going on, so all we have is the new trilogy and kind of the prequel trilogy to go.
Yeah, but
off
you
of.
saw the original trilogy.
Yeah, I saw the original trilogy, and it was phenomenal. But I'm saying, like, when there's just more movies that they made that didn't need to be, like they rebooted the entire franchise and they just continued it on, and then
dude, the storyline they have now.
Oh, it's
like right now.
It makes no sense.
Okay, I get it. Like the special effects are cool and whatever. And I saw one of them. I don't even remember which one. It's the same storyline. Go back and watch the original 3,
true.
and then watch whatever new 3 they made. Not the in between, but like the Disney versions. Exact same storyline, just different characters.
So I think one of the directors or like producers came out and said, "Yeah, we're just gonna basically follow the same narrative storyline."
Thanks, Disney. Real creative, real magical.
Original trilogy. So like the first one is like Luke Luke. Yeah, I think it was like J.J. Abrams or one of like the executives.
So
or something.
He admitted that. That's crazy. He admitted that.
But it's obvious though. Like Luke comes into his own. He finds his Force powers and everything. Becomes a Jedi. Same with Rey in the first one. And in the second one, there's kind of more of a coming together between the main enemy and the good guys. And then something happens at the end where it leads up to the third one, and then there's going to be an ultimate climax at the third one where it's all resolved and it'll all be fine. And it's literally like,
and they play the music.
Han Solo is replaced by Poe Dameron. Chewie is still there, but like, oh wow, that was really good. But it's just like
R.I.P. Peter Mayhew.
Yeah, R.I.P. I don't know. I'm kind of over Star Wars. I'm kind of just like,
that's great.
There's such a great trilogy, such a great franchise. Let it go.
That blows my mind that he admitted, because I mean, I would think he would just be like, "Oh no, we made it real original," and he could make some stupid thing and be like, "Oh no, this is original." But the fact that he's just admitting, like, yeah, we just whatever, we're throwing out garbage.
But
now
again,
at this point.
it's something
you guys will
that
still see
just
it.
reinforces like, okay, it works before. It's Star Wars. It's Disney brand. Lucasfilm, so people are gonna come and watch it regardless.
It's not even George
of
Lucas
what it
anymore.
is.
Like, to me, and I know George Lucas made the Jar Jar Binks junk, but like, still, man, like, just the original 3, leave it. We don't need a prequel.
Yeah.
We didn't need any of that. Like, just we don't need who is Qui-Gon Jinn? Wasn't that Liam Neeson?
Yeah, Liam Neeson. Yeah, that dude's in everything. He he trained Batman. He trained Obi-Wan. He's in like every action movie, and he's just one of those guys. Just like, wait,
another perfect example of like just not needed, because he's in every same plot. He's a drunk.
Yeah,
his wife left him and is down on his luck. But he has a time to redeem himself because he can save somebody. It's the same plot in every movie.
His kids hate him. He's a bad father. He needs to recoup his losses or whatever. I don't know. I had to throw the Men in Black in there just because they just did a new movie with Chris Hemsworth, or not Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, that's Chris Hemsworth.
But another one of them where it's just leave it with Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith.
Oh yeah.
You don't need to expand the universe. You don't need to.
I mean, even the second and third were kind of like, they're okay.
The second was decent. Not ever going to be as good as the original. The third was. I don't even remember what the third one was about, to be honest. Like,
wasn't the third one? Wasn't that made like way later?
I I honestly don't know.
I thought they made the third one. Yeah, look it up.
I'm gonna look that up.
I want to say
Men in Black 3.
I don't know why. I remember a Pitbull song being in it.
Oh, I'm pretty sure.
And I mean, then you know it's. I mean, Mr. Worldwide's in a movie. You know it's good.
Let's see. Men in Black 3 was made in 2012. Oh,
Yeah,
I remember this one now. So this involved time travel.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones, K, went back in time to stop some sort of alien dude in the past.
So it's Terminator.
But
see,
pretty much. So, and essentially, like, one of Will Smith's like younger self had this thing talked to about him, and then like he remembered it when he was older.
Wait,
but he
a
didn't
younger
know.
Will Smith. So
yeah,
Gemini Man. That's coming out.
Oh yeah,
it looks really
but
good.
That actually looks decent. Like,
no, I know it looks great, but like, come on, like the same thing.
Yeah.
Like they're just repeating stuff. It's crazy.
So
That's
those
funny.
are like some of the franchises I had, which pretty much are remakes and stuff. I had The Mummy in there as another remake that never needed to happen. So the original two were really good with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz and all of that. Like that was really, really cool.
Yeah, I think I saw the first one.
And then they made a third one. They recast Rachel Weisz with somebody else.
They were kind of cheesy though, weren't they?
Well, yeah, they were like '90s movies, but like they had good special effects.
Well, they were good for the
back
90s.
then. Yeah,
Okay.
like I think they were.
I saw the first one like in 2013.
First one was released in like '99.
Yeah,
and,
so okay, that makes sense.
And then like second was like 2002 or something. But they waited a long time for the third.
So
one.
they
like,
were supposed to be like good movies. They weren't like low budget.
They were good. They were summer blockbuster movies. But then they remade it with Tom Cruise, and that movie that was remade with Tom Cruise was terrible. It was. I remember sitting in the theater going to myself, okay, is Tom Cruise like ever not going to be in a scene?
It's so funny. I feel like every time I've been with a movie at a movie with you, like the movie always ends and I'm like, oh, that's all right, and you're like, that was so good. So that's shocking for you to say. I think
that's only ever comic book movies though. So
yeah, that's true.
And we recently saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which actually was really good.
It sucks.
Oh, Aaron can't do movies that require brain power.
There's no brain power. It's stupid. It's so dumb.
I like
that.
It's
like 3 hours long.
I think that was one of more of the original Hollywood movies that has been recently released. All of Tarantino's films have been very much.
He's got good movies. I like Kill Bill.
Yeah, Kill Bill's very good. Like I like the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I like Tarantino.
Do you like Pulp Fiction? I couldn't get on that.
I like Pulp Fiction just because it's kind of like one of those cult classics where you hate it or you love it.
I just love Samuel L. Jackson.
Well, he's another guy. He's in everything too. Samuel L. Jackson is literally in every movie.
I love the TED quote when he's like, they're talking about Samuel L. Jackson, and then he's like, the black guy, like in every movie.
Yeah,
it's so true.
The guy in everything. Him, Morgan Freeman are kind of just like the duo of like, oh, he's in that movie. Yeah. Oh, Morgan Freeman's in that movie? Oh, of course.
You need like a powerful black dude. You grab Morgan Freeman or Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah. Did you ever see any of like the Planet of the Apes movies or anything like that? The newer ones.
No, isn't James Franco?
Yeah, James Franco was in the first one.
It, but no. I remember, wasn't Marky Mark in the like terrible?
Yeah. So they had the original ones with Charlton Heston, like kind of like not the Omega Man, but like
it was like the 70s, right?
Yeah, it was like 70s, and then
was it a movie or was it a TV show?
It was a movie.
Okay.
And then they remade it with Mark Wahlberg, which was
in like 2000.
So like bad.
30 years later.
That could be. I think that won like every Razzie Award possible. And then they remade it again. The first one with James Franco. It was kind of like it's like a prequel. Yeah. So it went back and discovered like how like the virus or whatever that destroyed the world and how apes became.
James Franco.
Yeah, that one was okay. Then they made a second one. I don't even remember what that one was about.
Is he in that?
No, he's not. And then they made a third one with Woody Harrelson. It was like the end of like that trilogy.
He's pretty good. He's in. He's another guy. He's in everything. He'll do whatever role.
I could not take him seriously just because I kept picturing him in like Zombieland or.
I always picture White Man Can't Jump.
That one too.
That's just him, Wesley Snipes, and Rosie Perez. What a cast!
What a triple threat right there. But I just could not take him serious. He was like trying to play this super like tough general guy. He's like, I have to kill every ape possible that was infected? And
it's like when John C. Reilly plays a serious guy, and you're like, no.
And he's like trying to put on like war makeup and everything. He's like, it's time for everyone to die.
Oh,
and I'm like, who scripted
like,
this?
dude, you were in Semi-Pro.
Yeah, like this is bad.
You can't do this.
Did you see any of like the Ghostbusters movies?
Funny story.
Boy.
Get ready. I'm dead serious. The only part of Ghostbusters that I've ever seen is when Dan Aykroyd gets a blowjob from the ghost.
That's a scene that,
dude, I'm not joking. Because I've heard about it. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like, it sounds kind of dumb. Isn't Bill Murray's in there, right?
Yeah, Bill Murray. Dan
I feel like I've
Aykroyd.
seen like no movies. Every movie we're bringing up, I'm like, I haven't seen that. But no, it's funny. I was flipping channels, and it was on TV, and I'm like, what is this? Because it was like right when that part is starting, and I'm like,
wow, you walked in at the wrong time, then.
Yeah, and I was like, is that Dan Aykroyd? It was one of those like, what is this movie? And then I saw that, I'm like, wait, is this Ghostbusters? And I looked up, like, this is a movie everyone likes so much. I turned it off.
Well, it's one of those 80s movies that still like holds up to this day. It's a decent movie. I mean, it's like a comedy.
I mean, it's supposed to be cheesy though, isn't it?
Yeah, like cheesy sci-fi comedy horror flick or whatever.
Horror?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's got ghosts and stuff, and
Casper is a
horror,
ghost.
I guess. Well, that's a kids movie though, so.
Okay, so this isn't a kids movie.
Well,
I mean,
there
he's getting
are
a
comedic
blowjob,
moments, but yeah,
so I guess not.
Not really PG X rated. I don't know. Ghostbusters, but they remade Ghostbusters though with like
Women.
an all female cast, and then like the movie itself was just really bad though. Like
Who
it was
else
just
is
like
in it? I know Melissa McCarthy's in
Melissa
it.
McCarthy is in it. I think.
Did you see it?
I saw half of it and then I turned it off because I was like, this makes no sense. I'm not gonna continue watching this anymore. So I didn't watch the rest of it, but it usually takes a lot for me to kind of give up.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I'll be like 10 minutes in, if I don't like it, I'm like, there's so much to watch. Like,
yeah,
that's the thing. Like with streaming, I think that's the reason too why Hollywood's so unoriginal now. Is they're like, whatever, this will be on Netflix or this will be on any other streaming site, Amazon,
right.
Hulu, Disney now, it'll be on there in 2 months.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever, we don't need to try.
Okay, the main cast, Kristen Wiig is in it.
Oh. Okay. She's funny.
Melissa McCarthy is in it.
She's not funny.
Kate McKinnon. Trying to see if like there's any other notable.
I thought there was a big male actor in it too.
Zach Woods. None of these people look from.
So it's pretty much all like a female
Ben
cast.
Harris. I don't really recognize any of these people. So it was, if Melissa McCarthy's in it,
but
then it's just.
I feel like that one was totally like, let's get the Saturday Night Live people in, because like Melissa McCarthy,
pretty much, yeah.
Kristen Wiig.
That's exactly how it went.
Melissa McCarthy's, dude, she is the cheapest actor. Like,
well,
I'm glad she's taken a turn to like serious movies now, because I think she's a good actress. But like, dude, her humor just, it was like Chris Farley. I mean, and I know everyone loves Chris Farley and all that. Like, he was funny. Okay, let's go Kevin James. That'll be
okay.
That's safer. That's
so
safer.
we're gonna now get into like the actors and stuff that we think have just totally like were once popular but have now completely lost it or just like gone off the rails for
kind of like
types of movies.
This episode, because
exactly
we're shifting gears here.
Oh, we're always shifting gears here. So Kevin James he was in a lot of great movies towards the beginning of his career. Even
great movies.
Well, not
like
great
what?
movies. Like they were like
he's in King of Queens.
Comedic. Yeah, he had like a good strong start to his
wait,
career.
Wait. What's a great movie he was in? I want to hear this.
I retract my previous statement.
He was in some phenomenal movies, and then it just took a toll on him. And he started going down.
Movies.
No, he's been in trash ever since King of Queens.
That's true. Ever since he hooked up with Adam Sandler, it's been just a dumpster fire.
So, did you not like Chuck and Larry?
No, that movie was terrible.
Okay, I thought it was funny.
I don't like
Adam
those
Sandler
kind of
made
dumb
that funny,
movies though. Like,
Kevin James, it was the same jokes.
Oh yeah, of course. Every movie that he's in with Adam Sandler.
But he like verbatim was saying the same. He just kept saying like, "Oh, I'm gonna punch you in the throat." Like that's all he seriously. Or he'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna beat you up or whatever. That's like all he would say in the movie, and I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, he's not making jokes.
I did like him in Hitch. Like, I thought he was pretty funny in Hitch.
That was funny.
But
because he was different.
The movies that he's been in, Mall Cop.
Paul Blart Mall Cop?
Paul Blart Mall Cop. He's been in Grown Ups, which...
Terrible.
Oh my God, that is so bad. Zookeeper. Paul Blart 2 Mall Cop. Grown Ups 2.
Even worse.
What is
when you watch Grown Ups 2 and you see the deer in Adam Sandler's bedroom, like in the opening scene,
you know it's
just
a
like,
terrible
this movie's going to be just hot garbage.
Yeah,
like,
you know it's going to be bad.
Oh my God.
And Adam Sandler's another one who's like had some good movies in the beginning, like Happy Gilmore, Waterboy. Yeah. All of those types of movies were great comedic classics. And then he slowly transitioned into this. Okay, I'm just going to do whatever I can because I'm Adam Sandler. And produce like the worst movies possible.
Well, I have two theories about that. So either he's he was trying to make his money, and then he made his money to a point where he learned, okay, I'm comfortable and I can keep doing the same thing and not try too hard, and people will still see it because I'm Adam Sandler. Either that, or maybe he's always made like just okay movies.
Maybe.
And we've just given him so much credit. I'm not saying his movies are bad. I love Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore and Waterboy. But, like, maybe he just made okay movies and people bought into it so hard that after a while it was like, okay, dude, we get it.
So what you're saying was he was ahead of the times in, like, 90s.
Yeah.
And then the times caught up with him and everybody wised up.
If you watch his Saturday Night Live stuff, he's doing the same thing. It's really nothing. He does the little voice like that. He does that, and like that's all he does. Like,
it's true.
Hello, like he just does that voice, and is stupid. And like people give him so much credit. I'm like, I love Will Ferrell too, but like he's doing the same thing, just playing off Saturday Night Live. And then we give him so much credit, and then 10 years later they're like, oh, they suck. It's like they're doing the same thing.
It went off the rails for Adam Sandler, I think, when he made Click. Which was
he tried to get like kind of serious.
It was horrible, and then he was like, "Don't mess."
He was like, "I want to put a meaning in my." No, that's a funny.
Zohan was terrible.
It's stupid, but it
was
fun.
bad. Little Nicky was pretty bad.
I never saw that.
Did you see Jack and Jill?
No, my dad saw it, and he's the only person on the face of the earth that was like, he was telling me about a movie, and he couldn't remember the name, and he's like, and Adam Sandler's like. Wasn't it like a sister and a brother?
He plays the same character. He plays himself and he plays his sister.
He was describing the movie, and I'm like, this sounds dumb. And he's like, no, it's pretty good. And then I looked it up. I'm like, wait, you're talking about Jack and Jill? He's like, yeah, that's it. I'm like, no. Everyone hates that movie. I've never seen it.
It was absolute garbage. And then I saw this movie on Netflix where he did he has like an 8-picture Netflix deal.
Yeah.
And the first one was, I think it was The Do-Over with David Spade.
I didn't even know that. I just guessed because he always.
I wish I could do 2 hours of my life over after that movie because
David Spade isn't that. He's the same. All those Saturday Night Live people, all they do. Chris Rock, same thing.
Well, they're all in the same thing. They're all in the same movies, like David Spade,
they have one
Rob
joke,
Schneider,
one voice,
Adam Sandler, Kevin James. They're all just like buddies who are like, let's just make this movie, and it's all just like, what possessed you to like get this to the production screen? Like, how? It's just Adam Sandler. Just like, all right, print it, go.
Well, because Adam Sandler's Happy Madison. He's making it, so he's like, yeah, people will see this. Who cares?
Just do it. Like, produce it and get it done and film it. And one movie I did see with Adam Sandler was pretty good was Reign Over Me.
That's a serious one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's more of a serious movie. That one was pretty good, but like every recent movie that I have seen
the Netflix movies. Did you watch the one with Jennifer Aniston that came out recently? Murder Mystery?
No, but it looked really bad.
So it broke some record. Like
really?
Yeah, like
for a bad movie?
No, like a good record. I think like everyone. I think it was like most Netflix accounts watching it or something like that,
boy.
And they had like new signups
to
watch
that just
it.
Goes
and
to
so,
show.
Of course, I watched it.
Yeah.
Which, you know what? They probably made up that stat. And they were like, hey, this is great. So many people are seeing this. But I did hear a couple of people who were like, oh, it's not bad. It's terrible. Like, the first 10 minutes are like, okay, it's kind of funny. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. And then it gets worse and worse and worse. And then you get to the end, and it's just like throwing your remote bad. It's
oh my God. I think that just goes to show of like so we've gone way off of the rails here with our
just
huge
venting
tangent.
about Hollywood.
But like people love familiarity, and whether it's a bad movie or a bad script, but you have a big name star in it, it's going to literally just print money.
I mean,
and
look,
it's going to get that.
movie.
And a lot of these films kind of overshadow what some of the original films or the smaller films are doing. And I don't know. I go and see at least 5 movies a year. I think you see more than that. Probably.
5?
In the summertime, yeah. It depends on how many Marvel movies are out.
You're always at the theater.
I mean, when it's like August or like March to August, I'll probably go like
I probably see 5
once or twice a month. But it just like it overshadows a lot of these other movies that are not getting the attention that they deserve. I mean, look at every Dwayne Johnson movie, The Rock. Literally, plays the exact same character in every single movie. He's just in a different crisis scenario.
He's always like the good guy.
He's always like, yeah, the good guy, or he works so hard, but
he's like the anti Liam Neeson.
He is, yeah.
Like he's always got to save somebody, and he's got to make up for a mistake. But he's like, well, I didn't totally shut out my family, or I'm not an alcoholic, or like he's not like that.
He's
bad.
just
he's
like
totally off
just
the rails.
a badass, like go and get it done. Like, well, he's in all of the Fast and Furious movies, which that's when they literally took on like more of kind of an action tone. He's in like the same movies every year. He released that movie Skyscraper, which was a good movie. So bad. It was literally the plot of Die Hard. It was Die Hard. He had one leg.
Chill out.
Yeah, but like I'm just saying, it's literally Die Hard. He's hanging out of a building with one leg, and he's like, "I'm going to kill you. It's time to lock and load."
See, I'm a victim of this stuff too, because I guess I complain about it, but then I do go watch these movies, and then after I'm like, I don't even think about that was Die Hard, but I'm still like,
pretty much.
All right.
You ever see San Andreas?
No.
Oh my god. So it's like a gratuitous disaster flick where he's this air rescue guy in a helicopter, and San Andreas, like in LA or California or whatever, it goes under like this huge earthquake, and so he's going to like rescue his daughter or something and his wife, and literally the climax of the movie is him driving.
Wait, how did he get out? How was he in the helicopter?
He wasn't in San Andreas when the helicopter hit, or when the helicopter destroyed San Andreas, when the earthquake hit.
So they called him up, and they're like, "We're in danger," and then he's like, "Okay, I'll fly my helicopter."
He was like 100 miles away or something, and then like, "Oh my god, I saw this like 10.7 earthquake or whatever. I've got to save my wife and kid or whatever." So he like flying over there. He rescues the wife, and then the climax of the movie is literally him driving through a flooded downtown San Andreas, through a building with like a trail of like gasoline fire behind him.
You got to set up the explosion that he walks away from.
Yeah, pretty much. But he's like driving his boat with like his wife in there, and he's like literally like lifting up buildings and like just like doing super inhuman feats. And it's like only The Rock would he be able to get away with this?
Hardest worker in the room.
Yeah. Like hardest worker in the room. Like, I just can't. I don't know. I love the guy. It's like he's in the same movies all the time, though. Like,
yeah.
Could you imagine when he joins the cast of the Expendables? Just like the greatest. The greatest action cast of all time.
What are they up to in those 5?
I think it's like Expendables 4 or 5 now. I'm gonna.
So when 6 comes out, look this up. We got to look up the list. The list of the. This is great. The cast, just reading it off, cracks me up every time.
Expendables has been the most star-studded action cast of all time.
That was the most disappointed I've ever. I remember when that came out. I think I was in high school, and I'm like, man, I'm seeing that. That's gonna be great. Because I always thought, I'm like, why don't they just make a movie and put? And this is such a like high school thought. I'm like, why don't they make a movie and put all the A-list actors together? Then it would be the best movie ever. And then they did this, and it was just terrible.
Sylvester Stallone, Jason Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren.
Yes, Dolph.
Eric Roberts, Randy Couture, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Because they're actors.
Let's see. Gary Daniels. Terry Crews was in it.
Because you need the strong dude.
Mickey Rourke. So that they went all out for Expendables 1. Expendables 2.
Mickey Rourke is like 70 years old.
I think he's dead now or something. Like,
did he die?
I don't. Maybe he's so old.
He always He's like Jeff Bridges. He's always playing a guy who's like dying or like he's out. You know, he's down for the count.
And then Expendables 2, they put in Chuck Norris. Gotta have Chuck Norris in there.
Yeah.
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yes,
if he wasn't
80s.
just roundhouse cooking everybody already. Schwarzenegger joins the cast. Thank God. Bruce Willis joins the cast, who apparently is an action star.
Because he's not old. He can do it. Well, I mean, they're all old, but...
Well, they're all super old. It's a bunch of old action stars from the 80s,
but they're so
90s.
old. It's like, what? Come on.
Well, Sylvester Stallone is still punching people and Ramboing it up at 75 degrees. They're 75 years old.
Not even. Can't even understand him anymore.
Then they made Expendables 3, which was pretty much, but they added Mel Gibson, Kelsey Grammer, Frazier joins the cast.
He's tough.
Yeah, he's blowing people away with M16s. They added Ronda Rousey. Because
she's an actress.
I think they were just like, let's just get a bunch of UFC and WWE stars because they're tough. And,
they weren't like they had scooped up all the action stars. So like, well, we need more. Let's just scoop up the UFC too. They'll throw him in there. They'll be the same. Oh my god! And
then they made Expendables 4.
Is John Cena in it?
Let's see here.
He has to be
cast. Oh, it just says Sylvester Stallone. I don't know. I think John Cena was in one of them.
He has to be. Like if you're gonna have those guys,
I don't. You have to. Expendables 4 hasn't come out yet.
Is it coming out?
I think so.
Oh my god, that's incredible.
Yeah, but. That just got to have Chuck Norris in there. You got to have Jason Statham, who does the worst action movies of all time. Like
when I watch a Jason Statham movie, I'm like, is he trying to make this stupid? Like Crank.
Oh my god! So they had Crank. There was The Mechanic. They had Crank 2. Then they had Crank High Voltage or something like.
He's got to like electrocute himself to stay alive.
Yeah, Lily has to keep his heart going, or he'll die. And then my favorite movie was The Meg, the one about the giant shark.
I didn't see.
And he had so many like cheesy one-liners. Yeah,
like
it's
M-E-G?
So it's like off of the megalodon shark of like a prehistoric,
60-foot
shark, and he's in like this.
Oh man.
I'm not even kidding you. I've seen a lot of bad movies, if you haven't guessed already. And he's like in this submarine or whatever, and then like there's like a harpoon that he shoots into, like it's like Jaws, but it's just the shark is like 100 feet long or something.
Well, it's an
and he shoots
shark.
like a harpoon into it, and he's riding the shark on the harpoon like skiing or whatever, like water skiing. I'm just like, who is this guy? Like, what is going on in this movie?
It's like Piranha. Remember that?
Oh,
that
God. That was such a terrible movie.
Who was it? Tara Reid.
Yeah, Tara Reid. Well, she's been in all those, like, Sharknado movies. Like, the worst sci-fi movies of all time.
Bad.
Like, it just goes to show, like, all of these crappy movies
that's
that
the
come
thing.
out.
Like, people are seeing them, so they're like, well, let's just, like, not even try.
Right.
And I get it. They're gonna make those movies because it's like I said with Skyscraper. You know, it's an easy. I knew that wasn't gonna be like, wow, that's incredible. I knew that, but I was like, well, I just want to chill out. I don't want to think too much when I watch a movie. I just want to like watch stuff blow up and watch The Rock like save people and know what to expect. So I understand it. My whole thing here for the change part of today's episode, just put effort in. If you are going to make Hollywood, if you're going to make a sequel or you're going to reboot a movie, first of all, number one, if you're going to reboot a movie, like give it 30 years at least.
That's a long time.
Well, because then
people will forget. Generations forget then, Aaron. Then you don't make money.
No, that's one generation. Like
it's too long.
But you can go watch the original and it's still decent. It's not going to be like, okay, it's not like black and white, you know, where it's like way out of date. So I understand remaking them, rebooting them, put like people that you know, actors and whatever in the movies. But yeah, like nothing made me more angry when they redid Spider-Man and then redid it again. It's like, we just saw this movie.
It's going to be like the year 2037 and it's going to be like the 12th remake like
every
of
10
Spider-Man.
years, like,
Ben Parker, or,
let's get a new guy
Uncle
in there.
Ben dies for like the 20th time and we're left with I don't know.
You know what also pissed me off about that? I kept getting Willem Dafoe and Dennis Leary mixed up. And then in the remake of the Spider-Man, they put Dennis Leary in there. The whole time I thought Dennis Leary was Green Goblin and it was Willem Dafoe. And I knew they did that on purpose because they were like, oh, hey, we're going to get
they
you
look
guys.
Similar.
Dude,
too.
Yeah, and then sure enough, like there's Dennis Leary in the second one, so you get them mixed up even more.
Got that weird, creepy smile, too. And...
They both do. They're both.
Yeah.
I hated that. I was like, you guys are just
God.
messing with us now.
But that's
and then
really
if you're going to make a sequel or a trilogy or whatever, just, like, I'm going back to Toy Story for, the first example I brought up. Have it make sense. The trilogy did make sense. To piece those together at a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they ended it perfectly. It was great. That is a...
Right.
I know it's a kind of a dumb example, 28-year-old talking about Toy Story, but, like, it's a good example of how to make a trilogy, and it had a great message, it had a great storyline. It had the actors that you wanted to go see, the voice actors, like... And then they throw on the fourth one, it's like, no, that doesn't make sense. Just end it.
This is really bad.
You could do maybe do a spinoff to see how... I'm just saying, like, if you really want to do it, but don't continue the whole thing. It was so forced, and that's all they're doing. So that's my change. Just if you are going to do it, which I get why they do it, just put some more thought into it and have it make sense. And actually try with a script. Don't just throw out whatever, like... People will see this anyway and be Adam Sandler where you're just coasting.
I agree. No, I agree with that. And, like, look, I'm all for, like, Hollywood, I guess, summer blockbuster movies, but
you gotta have your
I'd like to
cheesy
see kind of a more of a mainstream of original type of creative movies. But I get it, too. Like, Hollywood's not going to stray away from what's popular, what's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's all been done. That's the thing. Like, I bring up the dunk contest. I mean, you look at the dunk contest in the NBA, all the moves have been done. Like, Vince Carter going between the legs was so cool in 2000. No one ever did it before. And now it's commonplace. You do that, and people are like, oh, whatever. Like, that's
people are more excited about the next Marvel movie announcements. Like, what's going to get more attention? The next person who's going to play Captain Marvel, or the next actor who is just cast in Moonlight or whatever.
Well, and I'm just saying too, like, it's so hard because everything has been done in some way, shape, or form. It's so hard to actually make a complete original. So,
well, I mean, there's been some original movies that have been released, and those are the movies that are actually like thought-provoking and really good. Like Inception was a really original movie. Yeah. A lot of Christopher Nolan's movies are
big
really
actors
original.
too.
Yeah, like who would have thought? Like, oh, we're gonna build a movie
like indie film
off of dream sequences and create rules behind what happens when you dream. You ever seen the movie Memento?
No.
Christopher Nolan movie. It was his first movie actually ever made, but it was
shot. I thought that was older.
It was done in reverse order. So it started off at the end of the movie, so to speak, like at the end of the story, and then it worked its way back towards the beginning.
Yeah,
so that was
cool.
It was hugely creative. That was released in like '99, but like that's like
so it's not super old.
No, or maybe not '99. It was like early 2000s or something. But like he's a great director who releases some great original types of films. Tarantino is another one. Like we were talking about this yesterday of quality versus quantity, and like what's the legacy that
he has
you're
like
gonna
9
leave
movies
behind. Yeah, he has like 9-10 movies or whatever. Like his legacy is one, okay, he didn't direct a lot of movies, but his movies are so good, like they'll be talked about forever, whereas opposed to and remembered as in like good quality things, as in Adam Sandler, who's like his legacy is the crappy movies.
For him too, I mean, how many movies do you go see based on, well, this guy's directing it?
Usually a lot, yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, like if I know like, Spielberg's directing it, then I'm like, I know that's going to be pretty good.
Yeah, decent. But my point is like, most of the time you go see a movie because there's an actor associated with it.
True.
You look at the actor first, and then maybe you look at the director.
If I see Chris Evans is in the movie, I'm going to see it.
Right, and that's what I mean. I feel like most people, maybe not you, but most people, they look first, see, okay, who's in it? What's the cast?
Yeah.
And then they're hooked with that. But to be like Tarantino or Christopher Nolan or guys like that where you like their movies, they do good work, they could put literally anybody, a totally unknown cast, and you'll see it because you're like, well, it's this director, it's going to be good. That's so powerful. I mean, that's, to me, that is why they should inspire Hollywood to make maybe less movies, but make more creative movies, because then people are going to go see it, and it's going to be, to me, it's going to equal out, because more people are going to see it and stick with seeing those movies, as opposed to ruining actors' careers by making junk. And then I don't see Adam Sandler movies anymore. I know I saw Murder Mystery. Besides that, I haven't seen it in a while because I gave up. I'm like, well, screw it. He's going to be in trash movies.
If he's going to be in the same type of stuff, then I can literally predict what would happen in certain genres of movies. Like, this person's going to do this person's going to do that. Maybe because I've seen 1,000 movies, but like I've seen the same story being told over and over and over.
It's definitely going to.
What happens though when people are like, well, I don't want to go to the movies anymore? I mean, even with the Netflix originals, they're not. Some of them are good, some of them are really bad, and some of them are, well, not so bad.
Were we talking about the Forrest Whitaker, where they're driving away from the tornado?
Oh,
we talking about that movie on Netflix. That's so bad.
That one was really bad. There's a lot of I saw this one with Mads Mikkelsen. It was like he played this assassin or whatever.
Of course.
And it was like, it started off with this gratuitous sex scene, and then it just spiraled into this gore, and it was so unnecessary. It was like everything that makes a really bad cheesy action movie check. Hot women, gratuitous sex scenes, really gory violent murder scenes, torture scene, check. Mads Mikkelsen is like this, I'm done with it, I can't take it anymore, killing everybody. Then he walks off into the sunset and stops being an assassin or something.
Oh my God.
I'm losing brain cells just watching this. I just can't do it anymore.
Jeez.
So this goes to show, I don't know if you can change anything about it, just because it's like $1 trillion industry though, and so I guess you just have to.
I think they're going to get to the point where they have to change, because if this does continue for 10 years, and with so many options now of entertainment in general and movies and shows, I mean, I think you're starting to see a little bit in TV shows. The TV shows that succeed are more and get talked about and shared on social media are the real original, real deep
syndicated shows and stuff. Yeah. Which I don't mind having an 8-episode show.
I love those.
It's because 8 episodes. One, you can get through it. There's more exposition, so it's not just you're cramming all a bunch of stuff into 1-2 hour movie. Yeah, you can kind of draw it out a little bit more, but you get more of it. And if it's done in a good way, you get a better quality then. So instead of a 24 episode TV show that lasts all year, you get a condensed, really good 8 episode show Stranger Things.
You can stick with it too. I feel like when they're 24 episodes, and if there's 7 seasons of it, you might give up.
Yeah.
Because unless it's really Breaking Bad, it's really going to grip you. Unless it's that, you're just going to get through. I've done this so many times where I'll start watching something and then get to season 2 or 3. And if it's just okay, I'll be like, I'll watch something else.
I think the perfect length for a TV show is 3 seasons. You've got one to set up, if you're going to do an overarching story, so to speak. So you've got 1 season to set up kind of the main, conflict. You've got the 2nd season to flesh out some new characters, kind of continue that, and the 3rd season to wrap it all up. That way it doesn't go on for too long. Yeah. You've got the ability to you tell your story. It's very character driven.
It's hard to stretch out a storyline in that.
Yeah.
And then this goes through movies too, with the 3-hour movies. Even go back to Lord of the Rings. There's so much walking in that movie, and I'm like, dude, Peter Jackson, man, come on. I get it, we got to know they're traveling, but there's so much added that just stretches it out that isn't needed. So I feel like it's hard to do a 3-hour movie or a 4-part, 4-season show, 5-season show, unless they're really deep storylines. They're not even needed.
No, I agree, and
they start repeating themselves in the show, and characters start getting added that aren't needed, and it's too much.
No, I'm in agreement with you, and with just how people are in general, though, they're always gonna flock to familiarity. They're always gonna flock to what's the latest buzz. Even in the really bad movies, Sharknado or something, it turned into
those movies are so bad. They're you
phenomenon. You gotta see how bad it is. But even some of the movies that are okay, it's pretty bad, but you should still go see it just because it's what everybody's talking about.
Yeah,
press because it's like negative press, but any press is good, I guess, in that regard. Whereas opposed to like movies like La La Land and Moonlight and
I didn't see those.
Manchester by the Sea.
Are those good?
Those are really good movies, but I only found out about them because I watched the Oscars.
Right.
And we're like, oh, these are pretty good movies. So I rewatched it or went back and watched them.
That's also
like,
my theory.
Wow, this is really good.
The Oscars, I still think the Oscars has like it's set up where they know that it's gonna win an Oscar, and that's like their style of promoting it, because it just seems weird how every year the movies that maybe people don't see in theaters, they're like, oh no, we got you, like we'll announce this that you're gonna win the Oscar, and then everyone goes and rushes to see it, and then people still get paid in the end. It seems too good to be true that happens every single year.
Yeah. I don't know. It could be a conspiracy. Get your tinfoil hat on. So
I mean, I got it on right now.
All right.
For that.
Well, there you go.
That just it's interesting how it's always the movie. It's like, oh, look at this Cinderella story. I mean, every year, yeah, you get a couple, but like the Green Book, like that one.
Yeah.
And I feel like because they thought that would be big, and then I don't think it did the numbers they thought it would do. So then they're like, oh, it's okay. We'll hook you up.
I actually don't know the box office
Oscar
numbers for
winner.
that, so I think
I don't think it was
like.
like. I think they expected a lot more from it, but then when they did it, I didn't see it, but the people I know that saw it, like 10 people at least, were like, it's not very good.
Yeah.
But the way they're promoting it, they were like, oh, this is gonna be good, and then people didn't see it or didn't like it. But then they were like, okay, well, we'll get the people that skipped it and announce it as an Oscar, and at least you're gonna watch.
True.
So, that's theory I have.
Well, that's a good theory. I'm a culprit of just watching the same kind of movies over and over.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not any different than, the people who watch the 6 Transformers movies.
So we're basically saying they should change it, but we're not doing anything to change it ourselves.
Well,
we're just like, you should. We're like the people that complain about politics but don't vote.
Exactly.
That's literally what we're doing. We're like, we need to change it, but we don't want to do it.
Really, we just want more stuff to talk about on this podcast,
pretty much.
and do wild tangents about the Expendables cast and the crazy movies that The Rock has been in.
Dolph Lundgren on this podcast.
If Dolph Lundgren is listening,
or Jean-Claude Van Damme,
and you want to join our podcast, I will personally pay for all of your flights and expenses to come out here. Yes, 100%. Jean-Claude Van Damme is pretty damn cool.
Are you gonna pay for him to come out?
Yeah, pay for them both.
Wow.
And then we'll do a
first.
video, and then they'll fight each other.
Ooh,
and we'll see who's the bigger fighter.
We'll see who the real expendable is.
Yeah, see who's really expendable after that.
That's what I don't get about that movie. It's called The Expendables, but doesn't expendable mean like we don't need you?
Yeah. I don't know.
Did they ever explain that? Were they just like, the people watching this movie are too stupid to think about the titles of it?
Probably.
Or maybe it's because they're so old. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'm too stupid to figure it out.
It's definitely
I think that's
possible.
what it was. They were too old, so people thought they were expendable, but they still had it. I think that's what it is.
Well, let's hear your thoughts. Tell us in the comments below. Is Aaron too stupid to figure out the titles of movies? What do they mean behind it? What are your thoughts on it as well? Has Hollywood become kind of this culprit of the same stuff, rehashing the same type of movies over and over, or do you see it more of kind of an original trend of movies coming up here and there? But I don't know. That's all I've got. Anything you want to add?
I think we've got. I mean, we hit the Expendables list.
We've gone over.
This is an Expendables podcast now, so
yeah. This is.
I think I'm good.
This might just be one to just throw on and not really think about and just.
This is the Expendables of episodes.
This is the Weekendology Expendables podcast.
This is the first one. Then the sequel. We're gonna do a sequel. Yeah. We're gonna have Jean-Claude Van Damme and Dolph Lundgren. And then the third one they'll fight.
Exactly. The second one will be a little bit better than the first, and then the third one will just be really bad because we just produced it while we're just like, it's garbage. We're just gonna get it out just to complete the trilogy. Check us out on Twitter at Weekendology Pod. We're on YouTube. Just search Weekendology Podcast. Follow us on iTunes and Spotify. Just search Weekendology Podcast as well. Drop us a like, subscribe, comment.
5 stars.
Give us 5 stars or give us 1 star.
No,
Anything
don't
else.
do that.
All right, just 5 stars.
Only 5 stars only.
Okay.
10's only.
Totally. You can check me out on Twitter at William Deichley. I'll link to the description in the description down below. Aaron, where can they find you at?
They can find me on Twitter at Aaron Levi Berg, and I won't spell it this week because Will gets annoyed by that. And I've spelled it in 4 other episodes, so
well,
there you go.
It'll also be in the descriptions down below. So.
Yeah, and it'll be there too. You can hit me with your thoughts and give me a follow.
Exactly.
You got any shout outs this one? We didn't do shout outs last time. I don't think.
No. The next couple episodes are actually going to be pretty good. So we're going to be doing a couple showcases on music and how women are breaking into music, how local bands are breaking into kind of the bigger scene from small to medium to large. So we've got some interesting stuff coming up. So
shout out to our secret guests coming up. We're not going to announce them yet, so I'm going to keep you guys on a cliffhanger here, but they're good. I mean, it's I'm ready to get those guys in the studio, and it'll be good. Shout out to Pat Rusnak. We had him on the previous 2 episodes. We'll probably have him back later down the road. So shout out to him. But that's really all I got. And shout out to the whole cast of the Expendables. And
every single movie, cast member, actor, actress that we've listed off.
But an extra shout out to Dolph Lundgren and Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Exactly.
Will has your plane tickets.
Yeah, I've got your plane tickets. Thanks for listening to the Weekendology Podcast. We hope you had a great time gritting through your week. Weekend's here now, so enjoy, and we'll see you guys next time.